Welcome back everyone. Today I'm just going to be answering another question I get asked at work a lot. And it is, what is leader line and for fishing and what is it used for? I still get asked that question a lot at work. A lot of people coming in new to fishing, want to take their kids fishing, don't understand leader line and why we need it. So we're just going to talk about that for a while. I'm going to get down to the basics of the leader line, just the basics. What knots we tie to, connect it, how long it needs to be, and all these are just basic. That's all guidelines. There's really no set rules to leader line. You can run a short bit, you can run a long bit, and I'll try and explain why we do what we do. Okay, and as you can, I don't know if you can see there's some rods there. I've got some rods and leaders set up, and some leaders in front of me, different types. Let's get into it. So, what is leader line for fishing, and why do we need it? First of all, 95% of us nowadays use braid for fishing, for most types of fishing. And with braid, it doesn't like sharp edges. It doesn't like rocky bottoms, reefs, snags, pylons with barnacles and stuff on it. Braid gets near that, it snaps and cuts very quickly. In saying that, this is why we use mono leaders. They're a bit more abrasion resistant, so they can actually rub along some rocks and reef and stuff and get scuffed up a little bit before it breaks. So it's basically a bit of a cushion, safety cushion. It's really what it is. And with the technology nowadays, and they've gone from mono up to fluorocarbon, and apparently in the spectrum in the salt water, the fluorocarbon, it actually disappears. Fish can't see it, which is fantastic. And some of the other leaders, like you got a tough, like what they call a tough leader now, and you got a supple leader. I'll explain them as well. There's a few different things, but basically leaders are just what we tie on the end of our rods, on the end of our main line. It's just a bit of a protection. It's really just protection from, rough bottom, sharp gills, raspy teeth on fish. Okay, it saves you get bitten off straight away or broken off straight away. Mono will take a bit of a battering before it breaks. Braid won't, not so much. Okay, so just a quick example. I've got a little rod here I rigged up the other day, and I was out casting. This was out, chasing some salmon at the time. So I've got my braid there. I had a longer leader, but the leader got shorter throughout the day. I'll explain leaders, lengths. There's no, like I said, no set rules, but I'll explain that shortly. But this one you can see here, hopefully you can see that, that's an FG knot, because I was doing a lot of casting with this outfit. And this leader was like 3 times longer, but after all the rocks and scuffs and stuff, the leader just got shorter throughout the day. We're out there for about 5 hours, so we went from a couple of meters down to a meter, basically. And I don't know if you can see that there, you probably can't, but that leader there is all scuffed up. And that was actually from teeth, from salmon. We got little blue salmon and we saw some threadies. I don't know if that was a thready or a blue, but it's scuffed up from their teeth. So if that was braid, this thin braid I was using, that just would have been broken off straight away. Okay, so that's why we got the mono there. And the other reason we got that there, it doesn't show up in the water as easy as braid. Like braid's, like that's a bright yellow, and in the water you can see that, and fish probably be able to see that too. Mono, a little bit harder to see, and fluorocarbon they shouldn't be able to see at all. Okay, so that's basically what a leader is. And there's a few different ways we can use this. Like if you're new to fishing, going out and tying an FG knot like this straight off the bat, it's going to be hard. These things, most of us use them nowadays, but they're not the easiest knots. They do take some practice. There's a lot of techniques and different ways to tie them on YouTube. You're just going to sit down and just go along with YouTube and find a technique or a way that suits you to tie them. There's a few different ways to do them, but they do take time. They're not quick. And there's some guys out there reckon they can do them fairly quick, but I found when you're in a hurry and stuff and the fish are on, they can be a pest. So generally I tie my FGs before I leave to go fishing, and I usually tie a longer leader. I usually have like a 3-meter leader. Okay, nice long leader. So throughout the day I can just shorten it and shorten it and shorten it as it gets, like this one just got down nice and short, but still good enough. When I'm in a hurry, like I'll put that away, if I'm in a hurry, a lot of guys are going to disagree with this and just tie FGs, which is fine. That's, once again, there's no set rules, you can do whatever. But when I'm in a hurry and the fish are on and whatever, I go back to an old school knot, that's really quick and easy to tie. It's a little bit more bulky, but when I use this one, you can see there I've got an Albright knot there. You probably can't see it, but it's a little bit more bulky. Very, very strong, don't get me wrong, it's very, very strong, a great knot. Just casting through these rods with these little eyes, not so good. So when I'm in a hurry and I want to put a leader on, I just tie an Albright knot and then I go down to a short leader, like a short leader, and I keep the knot on the outside of my tip, on the outside, so I can cast and the knot's not going through, and still, you know, catch fish while they're on the tube. And this works very well. The only downside to having a really short leader like this depends on where you're fishing. Like if the fish are really on and you're fishing in heavy structure, this rig is not going to help you at all. You might as well, you know, cut a 3 metre trace and sit down for a few minutes and tie an FG and put a long leader on if you're in heavy structure. The reason being, so you're chasing certain fish like jacks or something, or trevally, or some bottom, you know, reef fish, and if they pull hard back in towards a reef or around pylons or structure, this short little bit of leader is not going to help you. They're going to wrap you around, the braid's going to get to the snag, you're going to break off. But if you're out chasing surface fish or whatever, or tuna or something, and they're busting up and you're in a hurry, tie a little short leader. They're not going to wrap you around anything. They're just going to go straight through the, you know, they're not dirty fighters, they're just going to run through clear water. This little rig's fine. And you just tie a quick Albright short trace and just cast, cast, cast. You'll catch a few. It's all going to depend on where you are. Like when I was flathead fishing down the Gold Coast, I'd start off with a long leader, but throughout the day, it'll just get shorter and shorter as you shorten the leader with the flathead and the raspy teeth. And yeah, cast around a little bit of structure, not a lot, but some mangroves and stuff. But by the end of the day, I'm just getting lazy. I was just tying an Albright, a short trace, and casting me big jerkbaits. Didn't seem to worry the fish whatsoever. Still caught plenty. And they're not really dirty fighters or running through your snag, so the short trace worked fine. Okay, it still stopped their raspy teeth breaking you off. So, depending on where you are and what you're chasing, you can actually go just tie an Albright knot. But what I was going to say is, if you are new to fishing and you don't want to learn all these new fancy knots, the simple fact is, if you just want to go throw out a bait, okay, you're going to put a sinker on your braid, go back to a running sinker rig, put a sinker on there, instead of tying an Albright or an FG or whatever knot you want to tie, here, you're just going to put a swivel there. So you're going to have braid, swivel, short trace, your hook, bait. That's it, there's your leader. You don't need any special knots, you don't need 3 metres of it, or 4 metres or whatever. Just a short bit with a swivel and a sinker. You always just need a little bit of leader on your end. Once again, it's just abrasion resistant from raspy teeth, sharp gill rakers on certain species, or if you're fishing heavy structure and stuff, pylons and, you know, reef and, you know, just heavy structure, you want to run a few metres of leader. And to tie that on, you generally, if you're going casting, generally you'll use an FG knot. Okay, so hopefully that sort of makes sense. What else I was going to get to with that one was like this rig here. This is just basically a little jigging outfit, but I use it for bottom bass and it's a bit of an all-rounder. I use it for everything. Last time I was out offshore, and I think the last video I got some nannies, nanny guy, okay, in the Great Barrier Reef. And I was in a bit of a hurry because we're having a bit of a bite. Oh, I've got tangles already. I've got lines and leaders everywhere. So that one's tangled on that one. Awesome. Okay, so this one I had on. There's my bottom dong and rig, so there's my sinker and my hook and sea swivel. And from my swivel, I went up, I've got a couple of metres a leader. You can see that. It's probably 2.5 metres a leader. Once again, reason being, fishing in heavy structure. So I've got a couple of metres of leader there from my swivel. But when I go up there to the top of my leader, 30-pound braid, I've got an Albright knot there. That's just an Albright, it's not an FG. I didn't really have time to tie an FG, because I'm not quick at it, my fingers don't work too well anymore, so they take a little bit of time. And plus, I wasn't casting. So, an FG knot comes down to its own when you're doing a lot of casting and stuff as well, because you're going to be throwing it through the guide. So if you're lure casting, it doesn't matter if you're throwing little brim lures out to big stick baits for trevally. FG night and you're going to be casting, we're always going to be running longer leaders, like 2-3 metre leaders. But when you're just bottom bashing or putting baits off the back of the boat, just dropping it straight down, you don't need a fancy night. Go back to the Albright night, which I've done there. I've just got an Albright night, straight to a 2 metre leader. Keep the braid away from the reef with a good old Albright. And if you tie these things properly, they're as strong as. You're not going to break them. They're fantastic. They're quick, they're easy, and you're not casting. You just drop it straight off the back of the boat. Don't need a fancy knot. Albright's fine. If you want to tie your braid straight to your swivel on top of the rig, like the swivel there, braid straight to that, you can do that too if you'd like. Have your rig straight to the top of the braid. You can, but saying that, some of these reef dwelling fish, they head straight back into the reef. All you're going to do is drag your braid's going to be really close to the reef, and if there's a little edge or a little bit sticking out and it hits that braid, you're done. You lost your rig, you lost your fish, you're just done. But on a basic Albright night, put 2 metre leader or even 3 metre leader to your swivel. There's your abrasion. Okay, this can rubber along the reef a bit and take a lot more of a beating than your braid will. Okay. And the other thing with leaders too, and longer leaders, especially when we're running braid, because braid's got no stretch, and we're chasing big powerful fish, say GTs and things, or out jigging for kingfish down south, amberjack, or up here for dogtooth. When we're running 2, 3, 4 metres, it's got a little bit of give and it's got a bit of stretch, which also helps, okay? Especially on the big powerful fish. So, I'm hoping this is sort of making sense. And last but not least, the other way, when we're trawling, I've got rigs and stuff going everywhere. When we're trolling, a lot of guys nowadays just run wind-on leaders. You can buy them in shops or make them yourself. They're called wind-ons, and they're basically a loop-to-loop. So you have a loop on your main line, usually tied with a plait. If you don't know how to do that and you want to go trolling, ask your local guys in tackle shop. They should be able to do it for you. Then you can loop-to-loop with your wind-ons. I'll get that one out of the way. So this is my 15 kilo outfit here. You can see it's got quite a heavy leader, so 150 pound leader. Okay, and you can see there's like 2 lines, it's a double. So I've got on there's a plait, you can see a long plait. To the 2 lines, and then you got your wind on. That's stacker on. Okay, and that's also got a loop in the end. And then you just put it through and basically tie a catch ball. And then that goes up to like 150, 200, 300, 400 pound leader, depending on how heavy you want it for trolling. And that's all just a bit of safety when you're trolling. Helps with marlin bills if you're running a short leader on your lures. It helps with the tails, so the tails can actually rasp up your leader as well. And also, when you got, say, newbies on board and no one really knows how to trace safely or whatever, so with the wind-on leaders, we can run short leaders on the lures, which means the person on the rod can actually bring the fish right up to the boat. So they can wind this leader right onto the reel, wind it up to the boat. So the fish is just there, so there's not really any need for somebody to get out there and trace, especially if you've got somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. It can get quite dangerous. So with the wind-on leaders, put short leaders on your lures, wind the fish straight to the boat. And the other reason is, instead of an 8 kilo or 15 kilo and you're grabbing onto it, and you're going to have a few wraps of 150 pound wrapped on your reel. Easy to grab onto, easy to hold to. Okay? So this comes into play for a few different reasons. Some guys, a lot of guys still don't use wind-ons. A lot of guys do. It's going to be personal choice. Some guys still rather have a long leader, like a 3 metre leader on their lure to a snap swivel, and then swivel snap on the end of your double. The only problem with that is you need people on deck that know what they're doing and know how to trace and fight fish and reverse boats, and you just need crew that know what they're doing. Because when you get the swivel to the tip of the rod, then somebody's got to be gloves on, battle the fish, and hopefully the guy behind you holding the rod knows what he's doing as well. So, yeah. But anyway, that's that's a story for another day. That's something different. But as I was just showing you, we use leaders on everything, from casting lures to bottom bashing to just putting basic running sinker rigs down for a brim. You always need a leader. Okay, guys? And the leader doesn't have to be much heavier than the actual rod you're using. It can be quite a bit heavier, but we generally keep it in the ballpark. Depends on the fish we're chasing too. So if we're chasing flathead and brim, we've got an 8-pound line. If we're still chasing brim, we might go up to 10 pound, depending on the size of the brim and the structure. If we're chasing flathead, we can go from 10 to 20 pound, depending on the size of the fish and the structure. See, just get a rough idea. When I'm bottom bashing using 15 kilo or 24 kilo IP on the reef, I'm usually running a 60 to maybe an 80 pound, 60 or 80 pound leader. Okay. But if you're not sure how heavy a leader to run, ask the guys in the shop where you're buying it from. They should put you on the right track, give you an idea on how heavy and how long. But once again, if you're not comfortable tying the knots, just put a swivel on. Have your braid to a swivel, then a short bit of mono to a hook. It's still a leader, it's going to work. Okay. Now that I've rambled on about that enough, let's have a look at a couple of different types of leader. So we'll start off here. So we've got the Black Magic. Okay, you'll see one's like got a grey thing on it, and one's all black. These are two different lines here. That one's got supple written on it. You can see supple. This one's going to have a tough line written on it. Basically, supple is just a nice soft line. I like it when I'm casting lures and lure fishing, or even making wind-ons or making leaders on lures for trawling. I use supple. But when I'm fishing bottom or going bait fishing and I'm fishing around structure and reef and bits and pieces, I tend to run a tough line. It's a little bit stiffer, but it's got a hydrated coating. It's more abrasion resistant. It's a better line for bait fishing and around reef and structure. And if you're going, like I said, casting lures, trawling lures, just a bit of lure work, just go with supple, nice and soft. It won't interfere with the action of your lures too much. So Black Magic does that very well. And the other ones that people use now, it's quite a bit more expensive, mine's unraveling. I've got FC Rock here, and there's also a knit line. These are what they call fluorocarbon. These are ones that disappear in the water. Okay, so also good leaders. A lot more expensive than just your normal leader. Okay, fluorocarbon's good abrasion. They've got a harder rated coating, which is great. Quite a bit more expensive, which is the downfall. But this is the stuff that disappears in the water. And I'm going to have some arguments over this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't use a lot of fluorocarbon. The only time I actually use fluorocarbon is when the fish are really flighty or the water is really, really clean. Like when the water's clean and if the fish are a bit flighty, I'll use fluorocarbon. I think it comes into its own. And I use quite a long leader too, so the braid doesn't spook the fish. Because in clean water, they're very, very hard to catch. So I'll use long leader and use a fluorocarbon. And the lightest fluorocarbon I can use for the day, depending on the species I'm chasing, the better. So light fluorocarbon, really clean, when the water's really clean, clear. Okay. But when I'm just fishing murky water or deep offshore water or something, I don't care about fluorocarbon. A lot of guys say yes, you still should use it. Nah, I don't think so. The water's that dark or that bit murky, they're not going to see it. So then I'll just go to like a tough leader if I'm bait fishing, or then if I'm going lure fishing, I'll just go into a supple. That's it. Quite simple. And there's so many different ones, like Moi Moi. There's another good leader, but that's the one we use when we're game fishing mainly. Tiagra line. I use this for everything. It's meant to be a supple line, and it's quite soft, but it's all really good around reef as well. So I found that that's a bit of an all-rounder for me. That's I use that for lures and bottom bashing. I find that a really good leader, all-round leader. Black Magic in tough bait fishing, and fluorocarbons in clear water. Doesn't matter if it's inshore, offshore, dams, wherever. If the water's really clear and the fish are hard to catch and flighty, get a fluorocarbon leader. Doesn't matter if you're using bait and a short leader, put a bit on, it'd probably help. You go on lure casting, trolling, whatever, fluorocarbon works well in clear water. I think that's about it, guys. Rambled on enough again. So if you're new to fishing and you want to know what leaders were or what to use them, I hope that little breakdown helps you out. It gives you an idea when and how to use them. You should always use a leader, but you don't always need the fancy knots. You don't always need 3, 4, 5 meters of it. You can go down to short ones too. Okay, so also guys, if you like, I'd like to know your thoughts on the leader. I'd like to know what you use, what your favourite leaders are. Let me know in the comments how long are leaders you use and why, and what species. Did I say something you disagree with? Let me know in the comments. We'll have a little chat about it. Yeah, it's good to learn and know what other people do and what they think. And anyway guys, thanks for that. I'll see you next week for the next one.